So Back in Black is obviously an ACDC song from around 1980, I think. Check it out. 92 beats per minute, around, could be 94, somewhere around that vicinity. The first stroke is a crash bass, and pretty much this bar here is 80% of the whole song. And the way I've written it is a bit of a cheat. So here, what this means here is you repeat that another 2 times. So that plus 2. Then you do this. 1 and 2 E, E3 and D4, E and crash. And then again, another bar of that, which is the same as this. I'll show you how to do that in the demo. 2 more of that. Bass hat, snare hat, bass hat, snare hat, very straightforward. Then you got a variation here, so it's 1 and 2 and E3, 4 E, and then snare crash bass. Snare crash bass and then crash bass to begin the verse. And then another 2 of them. And then I've done a to the sign until coda, which means here, here, another 2 repeats, and here. So you do that basically again. And then you proceed to here, 1 and 2 E, E3 and D4, E and A, restiana. 3 stroke, but you rest in the first of the semi-quavers. 2 lines underneath is a semi-quaver. Crash hat, snare hat, bass hat, snare hat. I mean, you can sit on this and kind of improvise if you want, but if you want to do it just about note perfect, which is what this is, although sometimes, you know, you might hit another crash. Sometimes there might be a heavy crash or a thin crash, but generally speaking, it's that bar. And in this situation, it repeats another 5 times, and then bass, hat, snare, hat, bass, bass, snare, bass. And then this is triplet in the minim, or triplet in the equivalent of 2 crotchets. Bass, bass, snare, bass, crash, 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 rest, flam on snare, crash, and then you're back into this. So that happens here. No, that's a repeat. So this block repeats twice, once and again. So that's your verse again. And then you go into this crash, hat, snare, hat, bass, hat, snare, hat, another of them, bass, hat, snare, bass, and then crash, crash, hat, snare, crash, crash. And this block you do another 3 times. So that's times 3. You got the dots there, and in this case you can just legitimately say times 3. Then this repeats another 2 times, I think. I'll double check that. And then it's crash, hat, snare, bass, crash, hat, snare, bass. Then it gets a little bit more intense. The dynamics, the power increases. Crash, hat, snare, bass, crash, crash, crash. The same block as that. Triplet in the minims with the crash, crash, back in black. So it's, I think he says the hey, hey, hey's here. 1 and 2, bass, crash, 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 flat, down, down, crash. This is more tricky than it looks. So it's ba, 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 da, 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 snare, hat, crash, hat, snare, hat, bass, hat, snare, hat. In that section, you'll see how that works in the demo. Then of course you repeat that a few times. I haven't written it down, but I'll send it to you written down. Crash, hat, snare, hat, bass, bass, flam, flam, same as that. Back in black, that's what he says there. Rest, flam, crash, rest, rest, and 1, 2, 3, 4, E, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, bass, bass. And then you do this block for another, I think it's another 6, but I'll put that in later for you. And then you got 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, E, floor, floor, crash. There's a tom there somewhere. It could be a tom 1, could be a tom 2, but I've put snare, snare, floor, floor. So it's 3 and a 4, E, floor, floor, crashed, snare, bass, snare, and repeat. Then just a little variation here. Bass, hat, snare, hat, bass, bass, snare, snare, in black, flam, flam on snare. So it's pretty much that again. But you got 2 flams. Flam, flam, crash, rest, rest, rest. That's a Minim rest, that's a crotchet rest. Crash, rest, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, E4, and crash, stare. And then that's a little fill. And then you just ad lib, which means you just play freely, crashing it, but sticking to this groove here. And this is how it works.